You have stressed that 2026 will be a pivotal year and that by 2027 we may not even recognize America.
Radicals, communists, socialists, anarchists, and Islamists will work together to first destabilize the Middle East, then destroy Israel while destabilizing Europe. It will spread, and it will then finally destabilize the United States and destroy the Western world.
What if the biggest changes to America aren't coming someday, but are already locked in motion? What if the country that we hand to our children in just a few years no longer recognizes free speech or even the right to question ideas? Our guest today has been warning that 2026 is a turning point and that by 2027, America may be fundamentally changed, not by invasion, but by ideology, silence, and fear of telling the truth. Today, we're asking the questions many Americans are told they're not allowed to ask about Islam, about culture, about Europe's warning signs, and about what happens when a free society refuses to defend itself. Joining me today is Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck is a nationally syndicated radio host, best-selling author, and founder of the Blaze Media Network. For decades, he has focused on the intersection of history, faith, culture, and national security, often sounding alarms long before they become mainstream conversations. Glenn is known for challenging political, religious, and cultural orthodoxies while insisting on a clear distinction between individual liberty and ideological systems. His work reaches millions daily through radio, television, podcasts, and live events. If you want to watch this interview, go to the Real Alex Clark YouTube channel or Culture Apothecary on Spotify. Pause and leave a 5-star review because Glenn Beck is the best to ever do it. Please welcome my friend Glenn Beck to Culture Apothecary. You have stressed that 2026 will be a pivotal year and that by 2027 we may not even recognize America. What is happening right now that distracted people might be missing?
There's just so much garbage that everybody is, I think, intentionally being directed to. And the infighting among the people on the right is got to stop. You know, I just gave a speech where I talked about how people are not our enemies. And this goes with Islam as well. Muslims are not our enemies. Lies are our enemies. We have to stop wrestling with people and start wrestling with ideas, big ideas. The thing that people that are distracted are missing is the West is on the verge of falling. Europe is on the verge of falling. That will change the world overnight. After this, I'm meeting with some people whose father, Pastor Soon from South Korea, is in prison. And the reason why he was in prison is because he was just speaking the truth. He was just speaking the truth.
Sharing his Christian faith.
Yes. And he's in prison because it's a destabilizing factor. He was starting to grow people into a movement, and they're afraid of a movement. South Korea, people don't understand, that's about to fall. If that falls, the entire Eastern Hemisphere changes. The global dynamics change. So we have to start looking at bigger things. And in the West, the biggest thing that we're not paying attention to is the growth of Islamicists. There's a difference between a Muslim and an Islamicist. I was just last night speaking on behalf of a guy who wants to go to Congress, and he's a Muslim. Wait, Glenn hates Muslims. No, I don't. This guy knows the difference. He is a red, white, and blue. He was a lieutenant colonel in our Navy, and he is a devout Muslim. But he understands the difference between his religion and Islamicism, which is a political movement. An Islamicist believes in Sharia law over the Constitution, believes that that Sharia law needs to be the globe's law enforcement and the global law over all other laws. And it's an old thing that, was happening back, in the times of the Crusades, and it hasn't changed from them. It treats women as really less than second-class citizens. You can, if you're married by Sharia law, if I want to divorce you, all I have to say is, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. You say it 3 times, a man does, and I'm no longer married to you. You have to go to court and you have to divorce me, but nobody's going to believe just you. You need either 2 or 3 witnesses to equal 1 man. So it's just this archaic system that is all about power. It's not about God. It's not about religion. It's all about power and control.
And so it's completely incompatible with Western values.
Completely.
What are we seeing right now in Europe?
I've been studying this for almost 30 years and been warning about what is coming. And the time has long passed, but if we don't have it right now, we are lost. To have a conversation about the difference between Muslims and an Islamist. What we're seeing right now is an invasion in the West. They were refugees. They were people that were trying to get out of war-torn countries. That was the story. Some of them may have. Some of them may have. But a vast majority that came in all as young 20-something men, that's not escaping war. Where are your children? Where are your mothers? Where are your wives? That's an invasion. And they are planting themselves in cities, and they are having what are called in France, they used to call them no-go zones. Police can't go in there. They have their own Sharia law courts set up in these different areas all around. And you're starting to see in much worse ways the same kind of things that we're kind of seeing in America with just our politicians. The people with the power don't go to jail. Except with Islamists, what's happening is you can break horrible laws. You can rape children. You can sell them into slavery, because if you're an Islamist, you believe that because I'm a follower of Muhammad and you're not, you're an infidel. And so I can take you as a slave. I can do whatever I want to you. I know that sounds so archaic, but it is true. It is what many people in the world believe. And the most dangerous people in the Muslim world are pushing for this.
So when you say that we're not going to recognize our own country, are you talking specifically about laws, about culture, about freedom, about security?
So I said right after 2001 that there was going to come a time when everything you thought you knew would be dismissed as crazy or not true. Everything you thought was solid, that's a principle, rock solid principle, will be upside down. Everything solid will become liquid. Everything liquid will become solid. That's what I said about 2002. We're seeing that now. Like, define a woman. For a lot of people, you can't define a woman. The things that we would never have done. I'm not going to put a guy who says he's a woman dressed in sexual ways, bring in a pole to have him dance in a first grade class. That's insanity. It's always been insanity. Not for everybody now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I mean. You're not going to recognize your country. Everything you just thought was absolutely rock solid, those things will fall. We are looking at a time now where $38 trillion cannot be paid for, can't be paid for. So what do? Donald Trump has an idea. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But his idea is grow the economy, focus on AI, focus on tech, because that's got such growth to it that if we can grow that, we'll have all the tax revenue to be able to pay that down. It's like when you can't afford your bills, you have a choice: cut spending, pay it off. But if you can't pay it off, if you just no way to pay it off, you have to go bankrupt. We can't do that. So what do? We either cut our spending, which we should, but we're not. But the other thing is get another job. This is why he's growing the AI economy, why he is getting into rare minerals, everything else. We've got to fundamentally transform our economy to pay that off. So you have that changing. How that works out is going to be interesting, because no time in the history of the world have we been to a place like this. Usually what happens is a great empire rises, and then another one starts to rise just as this one is starting to fall. And most people think that rising empire is China, but it's not. There is no rising empire. America is the best out of them because as we're falling because we've lost our values, our morals, our principles, our history. We don't know who we are anymore. We don't believe in anything anymore. And we have just piled up debt. So all of those chickens are coming home to roost. But so has everyone else. Everyone else printed money in their own money like crazy, borrowed too much. So everyone is going down at the same time. There is no rising power to replace it. So what happens will be something we will learn for the first time in human history. The only power that is rising is not a nation state, and it's rising through birth rates, and it's rising through immigration, and that is Islam. And Islam is incompatible with the Western principles of freedom. If you are an Islamist, if you believe in Sharia law, if you came here from a foreign country, you came here from the Middle East because you saw what was happening to your wife and your daughters, and you said, no, enough is enough, and you came here, you're part of the West. You will help us fix the West, okay? But if you came here and you tolerate that and you thought that was okay, and you don't mind because, at least it makes more sense than what's happening here, that's poison to freedom.
You know that moment in January when everyone's talking about their new year, new me goals, and you're like, yeah, I need new habits, but also my face, it could use a little upgrade from the inside out. That's why I'm obsessed with the Taylor Dukes Wellness Blue Beauty Drink. Honestly, ditch the Botox. This is a clean anti-aging beverage that works from the cellular level. It's packed with collagen, biotin, amla, blue spirulina. So you're literally nourishing your hair, skin, nails, and gut with every sip. I love mixing it into sparkling water for a little morning ritual or even as a mocktail during dry January. This would be so good with a splash of cherry juice in it. This is something that feels indulgent, but it's actually doing good things for my body and my face. So if you want to see natural improvements to your skin, 2 things you should do this January. You should increase the amount of red meat that you eat, and you should drink the Blue Beauty Drink. My Prego boss is obsessed with it. It tastes refreshing, lightly sweet, and it's made with real superfood ingredients only. No junk, no fillers. If your 2026 goal is looking and feeling your best naturally, this is your new secret weapon. Head to TaylorDukesWellness.com, use code Alex Clark. That's TaylorDukesWellness.com, code Alex Clark for 10% off. All right, listen, if you're still eating that sugar-coated garbage they call healthy cereal, we need to have a serious talk. Your breakfast is supposed to fuel your life, not give big food another excuse to buy another yacht while your insulin spikes. Enter Lovebird's grass-fed, high-protein cereal 2-pack. This stuff is so good. Grass-fed whey protein, organic coconut sugar, crunchy, satisfying, actually tastes freaking amazing. I'm not kidding. You get cinnamon and cocoa flavors, gluten-free, non-GMO, and third-party tested, so you know it's legit. No heavy metals. Here's the kicker. 11 grams of protein per serving. Guys, this is what you need to switch your kids to. That is not just a breakfast. This is a meal. You eat this in the morning. You don't need a second breakfast. You don't collapse at your desk at 10 a.m. and you don't feel like garbage by lunch. Simon, my editor, is salivating right now. This is high-protein cereal done right, made with real organic ingredients, no refined sugar, no lab-made nonsense. It's like your regular cereal went to a yoga retreat, got a green juice, kissed Simon, and came back actually useful for your body. So do yourself a favor. Try the 2-pack today. Cinnamon and cocoa. Oh, I love the cinnamon. While supplies last, use code ALEX20 for 20% off. That's ALEX20 at lovebirdfoods.com for 20% off. Code ALEX20 for 20% off at lovebirdfoods.com. Get your breakfast in line. Your cells are going to thank you, and big food will hate it, and we love that. Are you concerned with the amount of right-wing influencers who are going to Qatar?
Oh, yes, I am.
What's going on there? Why would they be doing that?
I just had a conversation with somebody last night, and I asked that question. It was off the record, and I asked that question. What could you possibly be thinking? There wasn't a good answer, and I don't know what the answer is, other than the people on the right are starting to believe this lie that Putin is no worse than George W. Bush or Barack Obama or Donald Trump, okay? Not true. That Iran has its, good points. Which? Is it throwing homosexuals off of buildings? Claiming there is no homosexuality in Iran? and probably backing it up because you kill all the homosexuals that you find? Is it the way you treat women? But what are the saving graces of Iran? Okay, we have problems here, but our Constitution says in order to form a more perfect nation, meaning we don't have it down. We're making all kinds of mistakes, but we want to get better every day. We want to set more people free. We want to find a way to have people live in charge of their own life, making their own decisions without some central command telling everybody what you have to believe, what you have to eat, what you have to do, what you can't do. No, we want a more perfect nation. We're the only country in the world that has that as our goal. We're the only country in the world that wrote down all men are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that governments are instituted among men to protect those rights. That's the job of the government, to protect your rights. We don't even understand rights anymore. And if we don't get back to this, we will lose it. This is why tearing things down is so dangerous. You want to fix things. You don't want to tear them down, especially if you don't know how to put it back together. I could say, my car is broken. It doesn't work. I'm going to go in and I'm going to tear down the engine. Okay. Do you know how to rebuild it? Do you know what the problem was? Do you know how to put all the pieces back together? Because I can guarantee you it'd be like me going to IKEA. I'd be left with 100 parts as I put that engine back together and go, I don't even know where those parts go. It's not going to work. If you tear this system down and destroy it, what do you have left? Nothing but anarchy and chaos. And those who actually do believe in something take control.
One thing that a lot of proclaimed conservatives are discussing right now is this concern that Jews are running everything. And, it's just interesting to me that conversation is being elevated, as well as, we have people like you and Ali Stuckey and even Charlie Kirk before he was murdered, really raising the alarms about Islam. Like, you guys are obsessed about Jews and concerned about Jews. And we have this glaring warning sign of Islam. I mean, what is your response to that? These people that are like, no, it's not Islam, it's the Jews we need to worry about.
So can I just ask some basic questions on the Jewish thing? Has Israel taken and built settlements all over Israel where they want to build settlements? If not, why? Because the United States has said, don't do it. Who's controlling whose policy? Now, do they influence ours? Yeah, I'm sure they do. Do they have lots of money and people hired in their government to influence our government and other governments to try to get us and others onto their side to do things that are good for their country? Absolutely. Is that bad? Well, I don't know. Talk to Marco Rubio. Talk to any former Secretary of State, because that's what we do with our money and our officials. We say, what's good for the United States? Can we bring them in on that? Let's get them in on that. How many times? What is the United Nations for? The United Nations is to get people to go, hey, I've got a problem over here. Can I get you guys to come in and help me on this? Everything that we have proposed, let's say for Africa, do you know that in Africa, you get money from the United States, but only if you offer abortions, only if you start to offer trans surgery. These are communities that don't want any of that, but they want the money. And so they take it. Are we doing what people are saying Jews are doing? Yes, every country does that. If you have a problem with that, your problem is not with the Jews or Israel. Your problem is with your politicians. Because if I've elected a politician and some foreigner can come in, give him money, or some foreigner can come in and convince them to do something in our country that is not in our nation's interest, my problem's not with that country. My problem is with my politician. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it right now. You're taking money, then you should go to jail. They should also pay a penalty if they're doing it illegally. There's this whole thing about the USS Liberty. I do not believe that was anything but an accident. This happened in the 1960s during the war in Israel, and the conspiracy is that Israel blew up the USS Liberty. Okay, not a conspiracy. It happened. But the question is, why did it happen? Was it intentional or was it a mistake? I believe it was a mistake, but let's just say it was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Has the United States ever done anything in an act of war where either the fog of war confused things and we did something we shouldn't and then denied it? Absolutely we have.
Yep.
Has the United States ever done anything against an ally intentionally because it was in our best interest and we needed them to not be here while we do these things? We need to take care of it. Absolutely we have. So why do we hold Israel to a standard higher than we hold for ourselves? Fix yourself first. The whole idea of Washington, that George Washington said was, you be a great country yourself, and you'll inspire others to be a great country. Stop getting involved in everybody else's business. That's something that we, the people, need to start doing. I am not for Israel. I'm not fighting their war. I don't ever want to fight their war.
Same.
I don't want anything to do with it.
Same.
Okay? It's their war. Okay? But I do believe they have a right as their own independent country to make a decision on how they fight the war.
Yep.
Okay? They have a right to defend themselves. Jews have a right to live unmolested, as much as Muslims do, as much as Catholics do, as much as Mormons do, as much as Hindus do. We don't hate people for where they come from, who they are, what God they worship. That's absolutely un-American. And so this idea that Jews control the world is one of the oldest tropes of all time. And all it just takes is just asking yourself, do we do those things? As a nation, do we or have we ever done those things? Yes. Should we do those things? No. Before we concentrate on stopping another country and pointing the finger at another country and causing more hatred, maybe we should stop and go, hey guys, let's fix us first.
You ever sit down and think, I should probably start taking care of myself, and then nothing? That was me 2 years ago. I stared at my vitamins, my protein powder, my random supplements from Amazon, and I froze. I didn't even know where to start. I'd never had a real blood panel or hormone test, so how would I even know what my body actually needs? That's exactly why Jevity exists. It was created to make health optimization easy, accessible, and personalized. Inspired by the CEO losing his father to what he believes was a preventable disease, Jevity's mission is simple: help you live your healthiest life so you can focus on enjoying time with your loved ones. Here's how it works. Jevity starts with an at-home blood work. A phlebotomist comes to your house to test over 100 biomarkers. Then you get a virtual consultation with a personalized health plan going over your results, explaining everything. That includes supplementation if you need it, nutritional guidelines, and recommendations for additional testing. Your custom supplements and therapies are delivered right to your door, and ongoing monitoring refines your care plan so that you're always optimizing. They even offer cutting-edge testing like the Dutch test I always talk about, GI map, and nutrient panels, along with hormone therapies and peptides for energy, metabolism, and longevity, all fully customized to you. Plus, the app gives you on-demand support from health experts, keeping all your data and plans in one place. Choose from one of their 3 memberships to get full access to these services, plus 40% off supplements and premium prescriptions. Use code ALEX to get 20% off your entire first purchase. That's code ALEX for 20% off. Start your health journey today. Code ALEX to get 20% off your first purchase at GoJevity.com. Don't wait. You ever open your cleaning cabinet and realize that you've basically been poisoning your family for years? Ammonia, bleach, synthetic fragrances, VOCs. These things off-gas even when the bottles are closed. You wipe your counters, you mop your floors, do the laundry, wash the dishes, and it all gets absorbed through your hands, your feet, and your mouth. You're literally bathing in chemicals and calling it clean. Try switching to Branch Basics. It's one concentrate that replaces dozens of toxic cleaners. Laundry, bathrooms, dishes, counters, even produce, your eye makeup, one bottle, plant and mineral-based, fragrance-free, non-toxic, no harsh chemicals, no parabens, no endocrine disruptors. Nothing trying to fry your lungs while you mop. My BFF started using it everywhere, floors, counters, sinks, even for laundry, and it is so effective. Everything is sparkling, smells like nothing, but the air is clean, her family isn't breathing in poison, and she can actually touch everything without paranoia. Her kids, the dog, her hands, safe. Her home feels human again. Switching to Branch Basics doesn't just clean, it literally improves the health of your household. Better air quality, less irritation, safer for kids and pets, especially if you've got people in your family with eczema or asthma. One bottle, one choice, massive impact, serious savings. This is so cheap. Make this year the year you say goodbye to toxic products. Go to branchbasics.com/Alex15 with code Alex15 for 15% off. That's branchbasics.com/Alex15, code Alex15. When Americans hear about terror attacks in Europe or threats at home, what patterns do you see that the media is refusing to connect when it comes to Islam?
It's always a lone wolf. It's always a one-off. It's always, well, this doesn't mean anything. We don't know their motives. We do know their motives. We are known as the Great Satan. It's fascinating. If you go read the religious scriptures from the Islamist called the Twelvers, they believe in the 12th Imam. Long story short, this is what the Ayatollah Khomeini said was too dangerous for Iran in 1979. They're now the people running Iran. They're Twelvers. They believe in the 12th Imam, and they believe that the way to hasten the return of the promised one, think of, if you're a Christian, think of Jesus being the promised one, and he's coming back, and then there's going to be a judgment and a great war and everything else, and then there's peace, okay? Think of that story of Jesus coming back and reverse it with the good guys and the bad guys. So Jesus is a bad guy. Our good guys are their bad guys. Our bad guys are their good guys. If you read the Twelvers' religious texts, they believe Jesus will come back, but he will testify to the 12th Imam. He will testify to the truth of the Quran. Then anybody who doesn't believe it, they line you up and behead you. Okay, the end. It's almost as if it was written as like you were in college and you were drunk and you're like, oh, let's really freak the Christians out. Let's take their text and just turn it upside down and write it. Except that's not what they did. That's what they believe. When they say, they close many of their speeches this way. Oh Allah, give me the strength to hasten the return of the promised one. Twelvers believe that you can hasten the return. Think of Christians. How would you bring Christ back? Well, Christ has told us, the scriptures tell us that the world has to be in chaos. There has to be so much bloodshed that it just can't, God can't stand it anymore, okay? And so Christ comes back. That's what Christians believe. They believe the same thing, that the world has to be washed in blood before the promised one can return. So when they say, let me hasten the return of the promised one, they mean, give me the strength to wash the world in blood. That's not theory. That's not a story. That's a conviction on the other side. You cannot dismiss. One thing I learned in 1999, I was on WABC in New York, and I was a new talk show host. Nobody knew who I was. And I stood up for Bill Clinton. And everybody was like, I told you he's not a conservative. And I'm like, no, I'm not standing up for this, or this. I'm standing up for him bombing the aspirin factory. Because do you know who he was trying to kill? Nobody did. I said, there's a guy, I couldn't even pronounce his name. I think I called him Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. Nobody had ever heard of him. And I said, he's trying to kill that guy. And so I wanted to know, who is that guy? Well, I looked him up. And I read his words, and he said, I'm coming for New York. I'm coming for the economic system of the West, and I will destroy it, and there will be blood, and there will be bombings. He was very clear on what he wanted to do. And I said, I'm telling you, if you don't pay attention now, within 10 years in New York City, there will be blood, bodies, and buildings in the streets, and it will have his name on it. That was in 1999. The one thing you have to do, if someone says, I'm going to kill you, you take them at their word. Otherwise, you're a fool. You're prepared. You'll keep an eye on it. If I have a neighbor who says, I'm going to kill you and your family, well, I take the measures to make sure that neighbor is watched, that I've got security on that side, that everybody in the neighborhood knows this guy has threatened me. I might move, but I take that seriously if he says it with meaning every day. They're saying that with meaning every day. And the press goes, they don't mean it. You're a fool to dismiss that. You will end up getting all of us killed if you dismiss that. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It means you must take people seriously when they say they're going to kill you. They're telling us, we're going to wipe your civilization out. You are the source of all evil, and only Allah is the source of good, and Christians and Jews are the source of all evil, and I will wipe them off the face of the earth.
At the same time you have this Islamic influence growing, you also see left-wing terror attacks growing.
They always go hand in hand.
What is the connection there?
So the connection is the destruction of the West. That's that. Burn it down. Back in 2008, most of your audience was probably very young.
High school.
Yeah. And I was on Fox and I had a chalkboard that I put up every day for the last year. And I said, radicals, communists, socialists, anarchists, and Islamists will work together to first destabilize the Middle East, then destroy Israel while destabilizing Europe. It will spread, and it will then finally destabilize the United States and destroy the Western world. And what everybody focused on was, well, none of that's going to happen.
What's funny to me is they thought you were a conspiracy theorist.
I know. I'm just taking their words. So that was the first thing. That's conspiracy. That's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. The second thing they said was Islamist and Marxist, they'll never work together. Really? Do you know history? Because in 1979, the Marxist got together with the Islamist. It was the Marxist that helped bring the Ayatollah Khomeini back from Europe back into Iran. Now, what happened to the Marxists in Iran? The same thing that always happens to useful idiots. Within 2 years, 30,000 Marxists were either jailed or executed. They worked together, both having the same goal, overthrow the regime. Then once the regime is overthrown, which one has control? Because the one will kill the other. And I would put my money down on people who actually believe God is telling them to do things. Put your money on those people.
Because they have more of a conviction.
They'll die for it.
The leftist Marxists don't believe in God.
They'll kill others. But are you willing to die for it? Some are, but the vast majority are not. Ask Christians, are you willing to die? People will say yes, but I'm not sure they mean it. An Islamist means it. They will send their own son or daughter to blow themselves up and then celebrate.
Yeah.
I don't want my child to go to war.
If you were advising the president, what are the top 3 non-negotiables when dealing with Islam and national security?
Find out who's here, and if you have any love for Sharia law, any record of standing for Sharia law, you're out. Shut down these organizations like CARE, which the record on CARE is extraordinarily bad. It's a front group for radical Islam, in my opinion. And the government needs to shut it down because it is the source of the Muslim Brotherhood. It is the source of planting people inside of our own government. It is the source of Islamophobia. That's Islamophobia. Like I said, I was with somebody who's running for Congress who's a Muslim. They call him an Islamophobic. Yeah, how can he? He believes in the Quran. He's a Muslim. Wait, he's Islamophobic? Yes, because he doesn't believe in political Islam. CARE is a political organization. Political Islam is must never be allowed here in the United States. So shut down the organizations that bring in political Islam. I'm sorry to say it, but you have to deport people who are coming from countries who are not willing to blend into our culture. If you came here because you are a refugee and you were being persecuted, you didn't want to live the way Sharia law was saying, I have to treat my daughter. I'm going to sell my daughter off to the highest bidder at 12. My daughter gets married at 9. And I say, no, that's wrong. I want you here. I want you here because you know what that enemy is. And it's not a Muslim. It's Sharia law. And I want you here. But if you will tolerate that, you're okay with it. You're like, let everybody be everybody. No, that's like letting Nazis in.
What are the next action steps for just the young parent listening or the college student listening?
Do not be swept up into hate. The natural reaction is to hate and blame. I gotta hate my enemy. Jesus didn't. And that will only lead to really bad things. You cannot hate the people. You hate the ideas. You hate the lies, but not the people. Don't get wrapped up into a group that is saying, you're either on team A or team B. No, I'm not. Both sides in the Civil War, both sides had preachers saying God's on our side. God wasn't on one side. I don't think God was on either side. God was on his side, the truth that all people should be free. It's our responsibility to be on his side. He'll never join our club. He didn't want our club. He thinks our clubs are stupid. Join his club. And to do that, I was thinking about the apostles. How do you know truth? You know truth when where you can verify everything. It checks out. Common sense, except for quantum physics, common sense falls into line. I can prove it historically. I can say this is what this causes. Belief in something good, belief in yourself, empowering yourself leads to good things. So when I can chart this and say, okay, that's what this philosophy brings to the world historically, that truth doesn't need an army.
You know how every January we all swear we're going to get healthier, right? Eat better, move more, all that stuff. Well, here's an easy one that you can actually stick to. Pack a real healthy lunch for your kid instead of letting them eat the ultra-processed chemical-laden slop from school. One of my mom friends actually tried this last week. She swapped out the sugary chips and the mystery cookies with a Paleo Valley 100% grass-fed beef stick. Her kid loved it. She loved it. It is naturally fermented, made from 100% grass-fed beef, seasoned with organic spices, and free from all the artificial garbage big food puts in their snacks. It's high protein, packed with flavor, and keeps kids energized throughout the day. It's like giving them a real nutrient-rich snack instead of just candy disguised as food. And these sticks are portable, clean, and guilt-free. So if you want an easy stick to it New Year's resolution that actually matters, you should go to paleovalley.com and use code Alex for 15% off your first order for anything on their website. That's paleovalley.com with code Alex for 15% off. You should start making your kids' lunches instead of sending them to school. And I know you're like, Alex, it's easy for you to say you don't have kids and it's going to add an extra 5 minutes to my life. Look, our kids' health matters. Try Paleo Valley. Christmas morning, you open a gift, makeup, and immediately your nervous system goes, this is a threat. I'm reading the ingredient list and it's like, why is there something in here that sounds like a subpoena? One ingredient looked illegal. Another sounded German. Never a good sign. So I'm at the mall the other day after Christmas, returning toxic makeup under lighting so aggressive it could extract confessions. There's a 19-year-old cashier named Kyle who can't make eye contact and has an iPad kid lisp. That's why I switched to Adele Natural Cosmetics. This is a Christian-founded, family-owned company making handcrafted, non-toxic cosmetics in Central Texas. Small batches, real ingredients, no chemicals that require a respirator. And it's founded by Arlene Doherty, who went through her own health crisis and said, actually, no, I will not poison myself for eyeliner. Respect. Their moisturizing foundation feels like wearing nothing. People say it's like your skin, but emotionally supported. The lip conditioner has hyaluronic acid. My lips feel plump, glossy, and hydrated. The glow highlighter makes you look like you slept, drank water, and forgave your parents for what they did when you turned 6. And they do free color matching. If it's wrong, they send you another one. No interrogation, no mall, no Kyle with his iPad kid voice. Winter is drying your face like a raisin in witness protection. Adele's aloe sprays, moisturizer, and body oil actually fix it. Use code Alex for 25% off your first order at AdeleNaturalCosmetics.com. That's code Alex for 25% off your first order at AdeleNaturalCosmetics.com. Return the toxic Christmas makeup, leave them all, choose Adele. If you could offer one remedy to heal a sick culture, physically, emotionally, or spiritually, what would it be?
I'm a recovering alcoholic. And by the time I was 30, I had destroyed everything in my life. I lost my family. I lost my job. I lost my money. I lost my kids. I lost everything. And I finally surrendered and said, everything I've done in my life, I didn't try to become an alcoholic. It's just because the things I believed in were just destroying everything. The things I believed in were lies. Fame will make you happy, whatever. And those were all lies, and they just started being corrosive. And so I destroyed my life. For a while, I blamed everyone else, which caused me to drink more. Another destructive thing, blaming other people. The thing I did was I realized my life was completely out of control, that I didn't have an answer that would work. And so I surrender. And I meant it. I don't care what you have me do. I really don't care. I just don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to live angry. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live out of control. I just want my family. I want to be happy. I don't need fame. I don't need anything. But I don't know how to get there. Please. I will search for you, and I will search your words, and I will ask for forgiveness on everything that I've done, and I will correct everything that I can possibly correct. But I need you to help guide me, and I need you to help me forgive me, okay, for the mistakes that I've made. And then I need you to forgive me also, to let me know that it's okay. You have a chance to start all over again. That's what we have to do as a nation. We've made horrible mistakes. We've screwed this thing up every way we possibly can. We have worshiped everything we can worship except for God lately.
Yeah.
We've chased him out of the square. We've taken his temple, his body, and we've destroyed it. We've taken his food sources and we've perverted them. And we expect that to be cured with medicine, something that he gave us the intellect to do, but then man took it and made money on it, all kinds of crazy amounts of money, which can be a very good thing unless your goal starts to become money instead of healing.
Right.
We've perverted everything he gave us. We are not going to save our country, our civilization, or humanity if we don't turn back and say, everything we thought was true is probably a lie. There's truth in there someplace, but we've perverted it. Help us get back on track. Just help me get back on track. Please, Lord, fill my heart with forgiveness. Fill my heart with the ability to see the pain in other people. They're acting this way because they're hurt. They're acting this way because they don't understand the truth. Help me correct that, but not with anger. Help me, give me the strength to stand in a room completely alone and speak that truth, knowing what may come my way. Martin Luther King knew he was going to die. I have to tell you, I'm convinced Charlie Kirk knew he was going to die. Charlie and I talked about it 2 years before he died. We talked about assassinations, and in particular, my assassination or his assassination. He knew this was at least in the realm of possibilities.
Yeah,
but it didn't stop him. It didn't stop him.
Right.
It made him more dedicated to the truth. That's what we have to do. You
have a big announcement today. What is it?
Well, we are launching a new project of mine called Torch. And it's many, many things, but I got to this portion of my life. My kids just moved out of the house, so I'm now like an old man. And when your kids move out of the house, you're like, okay, what have I done with my life? What's next? What do I do? And when I started The Blaze years ago, I wanted to change media. I just wanted to tell people like you don't need to go to the networks. You don't need to go to television. You can do it on your own. Nobody was doing that. There was no such thing as live networks or anything. Major League Baseball was the only one that was just starting to do live video casts. Netflix was still delivering movies by mail. And I started The Blaze and said, we can deliver quality shows like television online. Our biggest problem was buffering. You couldn't, everybody would be.
Yeah.
Okay. But my goal was to show the world, hey, Ben Shapiro, you don't have to go anywhere. Start your own thing. Hey, Tucker Carlson, start your own thing. Megyn Kelly, leave Fox, leave NBC, start your own thing. I get to a point where I'm like, okay, mission accomplished. Did that.
Yep.
Now what's next? I want to do to the educational system what I did to media. To show you, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to do these things. Those are lies. They're old systems that have destroyed themselves. At the same time, I've spent the last year or so building AI. And I've got two systems. We're unveiling the beginnings of one of them today, and that is George AI. And it's very different AI because I believe AI must be explored. It is the greatest tool man has ever created, unless man doesn't recognize it's a tool and starts treating it as the master.
Right.
And we become the tool.
Yeah, that's creepy.
And with AI, you ask something to ChatGPT, you better check it. Because the way AI works, these large language models, they have all of the information the world has ever done, but they can't memorize all of it. And so it's very good at the beginning and the end of stories. And then it'll cheat and be like, yeah, kind of like this happened in the middle. No, because it doesn't memorize it, okay? So you have to check it all the time. I've built a system based on my library, which is the third largest collection of founding documents in the world, only behind the National Archives and the Library of Congress. And I've put everything just from the founders. They don't know, it doesn't know who I am, doesn't know who Donald Trump is, knows nothing past 1825, okay? It took all of any book, any influence, any speech, any sermon that they heard, all of the founding documents, the Federalist Papers, anything that was important to the founding of the country, and put it in, memorized. Then I put an electric fence around it. It cannot go out and gather new information because it's memorized. It cannot hallucinate. And now, today, I'm launching something where you can ask George AI a question. What are the principles that are essential? What you can tell it, this is what's happening in the world. Why is it happening based on what you guys did? How can this be happening in this country? And it will say, because you missed this, this, and this.
Oh, I love it.
We put these safeguards in. You want to know about civics? You want to know what it means to be a citizen? Ask George AI. It will tell you. And in time, it's not ready yet, but in time, hopefully in the next 6 months, you'll be able to say, look, I have 15 minutes taking my kids to school every day. They need to learn the Constitution. They need to know about rights and responsibilities. Develop a lesson plan in those 15 minutes and develop a podcast and break it up into any number of episodes that you need so I can listen to it with the kids for 15 minutes a day. It will not only give you that lesson. First, today, it will be able to give you the lesson plan in writing, but soon it will be able to give it to you and listen.
Cool.
You'll be able to say, my kids are 9 and 7. So speak at their level, their language. Then at the end of the lesson plan, it will ask questions. It will listen to their answers. If it senses they don't really have a handle on that, the next episode changes and rewrites to go back and try to explain those things to them in a different way.
Okay, so are you going to try to get, American public schools to adopt this and use this?
No, I want families to do it.
Okay, so you are thinking like homeschool families and stuff.
Screw public. I'd love public schools to do it, but public school, it's a racket.
Yeah.
It's an absolute racket. And beware, because public schools are already creating their own AIs to do just this.
Yikes.
But what is the library? what is the algorithm?
Right.
My ethics are posted on my website, what it is, how it works, what is in the library, it's all there.
So you're saying within the next 6 months, people will be able to access this?
Yeah, you can access parts of it as of today.
And where can they go to do that?
GlennBeck.com.
Awesome. Glenn Beck, thank you for coming on Culture Apothecary.
Thank you.
What are your biggest concerns right now as an American? Is it Islam coming to the West? Let me know in the comments in the Cute Conservatives Facebook group or in your 5-star review. And we're trying to heal a sick culture on this show physically, emotionally, and spiritually twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, where I interview different special guests on these subjects. Thanks for listening. I'm Alex Clark, and this is Culture Apothecary.